Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to today's webinar, which promises to redefine the way we perceive contact centers. So I'm Rob Scott, your host for today, and I'm thrilled to navigate this conversation that stands at the intersection of innovation and customer experience. So today, we are venturing into a dialogue that explores the transformative journey of Zoom as it continues to expand its horizons in the realm of contact center technology. So in the next hour, we're going to unravel the story behind Zoom's journey so far, the innovative culture that fuels its growth, and a sneak peek into the roadmap that outlines its future trajectory and that can help shape your strategies in the year ahead. So today's guest speaker is Ted Yosikawa, Head of Product for Contact Center at Zoom. A very warm welcome, Ted. Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We're really excited to talk to you guys and showcase everything that we're doing.
Absolutely. So as we navigate through this session today, everyone, we invite you to engage with us, share your thoughts and questions. Hopefully, we'll get some time towards the end to answer your questions. So before we dive in, however, just wanted to start with a couple of quick questions via an audience poll so we can just see whether you've been implementing new contact center technologies recently and what the biggest drivers were that led to those investments. So let me just pop that up on the screen. And here's the first one. So the first question is, has your contact center adopted any new technologies in the past year? Thanks. If you are just joining us, we've just got a poll on the screen just to warm everyone up today to today's session. So the first question is, has your contact center adopted any new technologies in the past year? So the results are rolling in, Ted, already. We seem to have a winner. What do you think?
Yeah, it's great to see. I'm really curious to see what type of technologies incorporated, and really importantly, like what type of use cases have you used those new technologies and how have they helped your business and transformed to kind of meet your goals and what you've done. And for those that haven't, I'm assuming that you're here to learn more, to better understand what's available out there and how to go about making changes to your current environments.
Absolutely. Well, let's ask another question, but let's see what's been motivating the adoption of those new technologies in the contact center this year. So just going to pop that one up on the screen, everyone. It is multiple choice. So if you've got more than one motivation, feel free to click more than once. Again, if you are just joining us, we're just warming up today's session with a couple of audience questions or polls, and they should be up on the screen. Please join in. Now, this one was always going to be a bit of a mixed bag, Ted. It's looking that way as well. Any thoughts so far?
Let's see. I'm trying to see the results. I'm still seeing the results of the previous one.
Let me close the first one. Can you see the second one there?
No, let me see if I can submit it and then I'll see. Yep, now I see it. That's good. It's quite a bit of a spread. I think that's really akin to what I see in our customers that we work with. It's contact center and everything it does really transcends across the entire business, from both supporting the customers, making sure that they're happy, but obviously supporting the business goals of really making everything goes more streamlined, getting better margins, reducing costs, and really positioning the company in a way that can be more competitive across to differentiate. It's all about keeping customers, making sure they're retained, and keeping them happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's kick on to today's webinar. Let's dive into the first question, Ted. Really just to talk about these, story so far, the journey. Can you walk us through the journey of Zoom evolving from a video conferencing tool to a fully unified communications platform.
Absolutely. So obviously everybody knows Zoom as video, and hopefully as well as with Zoom phone. So we really listen to our customers, and our customers are always asking, they're wanting to narrow down into a single vendor for as many solutions as they can. So along the journey, they asked, hey, you guys are really good at making good voice quality, good audio quality. Can you build a phone system, right? And be able to consolidate into that? So of course, Zoom built out Zoom phone, and along the way built out other UCaaS functionality, including Zoom team chat, and continue to evolve with that. So naturally, along with that, with the expertise of video, phone system, chat, SMS, naturally our customers started asking us about the contact center space and what we can do to help them to be able to support and meet their needs here in the modern world. That especially comes true with the effects of not only COVID, but then hybrid work, and be able to support agents and customers that are dispersed all over the place. And so being native cloud and understanding how to provide scalability and resiliency all natively really is what draws our customers to us in doing that. So that was a natural transition for us to be able to support and to take on. And we leverage the back end of our video infrastructure, right? So the reliability and the quality that customers expect out of Zoom is what drives our video experiences within contact center. And equally, all the lessons learned and all the foundations of Zoom phone apply to the same architecture that we utilize within contact center on that. So we have a lot of foundations that help us to be able to make sure that we're providing the best-in-class, world-class service to our customers to make sure that they're able to support the business as they need.
Thanks. And let's just talk through those foundational steps a little bit more in terms of kind of what went through the minds of the Zoom team as you were kind of approaching contact center.
Well, so we try to take a look at everything. Zoom is known for innovation, and we try to take a look at everything from a fresh set of eyes. So obviously there's on-prem contact center and CCaaS providers out there a long time. But what we want to do is we first really focus on what our customers are trying to solve for, what are the jobs that they're trying to do for each of the personas in there, and really look at it from that perspective to think, all right, in today's world and with today's technologies, how best can we solve it in the way that Zoom does in our DNA to make it as simple and easy to use as possible, to make it as efficient as possible and effective.
And in terms of the market segments that you're attacking with Zoom Contact Center, does it lean towards small business? Does it lean towards enterprise? Both? What's kind of the target market here?
A little bit of everything. So Zoom across the board, we focus on everything from SMBs all the way up to the largest enterprises. And that same thing applies for Zoom Contact Center. So we have today, we have over 700 customers, and each of those customers span across every one of those segments today. That also includes internal IT help desk all the way out to customer support and non-traditional contact center agents that might be nurses and doctors, healthcare providers. And even when I think about brick and mortars, down into those that traditionally would be sitting at an office desk they would work at to go talk to at a bank or mortgage broker. So in these aspects, we're supporting not only all different customer segment sizes, but many different types of new users throughout the contact center.
I want to jump onto innovation now, and I'm really always impressed by the speed of innovation at Zoom. But could you share some insights into the culture at Zoom that fosters that innovation?
Yeah, I mean, it really is about trying to rethink about stuff that's new. And being Zoom and known as being innovative, we're able to attract talent from all the top technology companies, and Zoom's considered an aspect of one of those. So it makes it easy for those that want to come in with a clean slate to be able to innovate utilizing new technology or existing technologies that Zoom has built out. But in addition to that, we're able to also pull from the deep expertise of the industry. right? Many of us throughout our entire organization, from product like myself to design to engineering to sales, many of us have come through many of both the tech companies as well as deep in the industry from other providers in the past. So that all comes into play into how we can innovate and go. But in addition, it really comes down to our core values. So Zoom's mission is to provide limitless communication platform across to bring human connection everywhere. And our core value is care. And so with that, it really does come down to, this is the one company I've been a part of that truly listens to their customers and really trying to make it into a partnership. So it's not about, hey, we're trying to sell you a product, or, hey, can you just build us something? It's really about trying to find the right customers to have the right partnerships to help each other transform each other's business along the way. Because in the end, if the solution doesn't make a difference, then it doesn't matter, right, in the end. So we really try to look for that. And I think that's very unique to our DNA. And then along the way, you talked about the speed, building out. We're also over 700 features since the launch of GA. And prior to that, we launched with well over 100. And so we release every month, just like every other Zoom product. And there's no other company that can match that speed of innovation, the speed to be able to listen to our customers to help them make impacts to the business in a shorter amount of time. And we really take a lot of pride in it.
So just on that, I mean, when you're talking to customers, do they recognize that speed of innovation versus other more traditional contact center vendors?
Absolutely. I mean, you hear it all the time, and it's whether it's in the industry or through any other SaaS companies or even traditional companies that I work with. We often hear we hear you guys pitch that you listen, and we're actually surprised because you actually did listen, right? And the countless stories I hear of the horrors of trying to put in feature requests, trying to explain why a solution doesn't meet their needs, but yet 2 years, 2.5 years later, it's still not solved for, right? And that drives a lot of the discussions for evaluating new vendors. And I think that really goes back to that aspect of using the word partnership and doing that.
Great stuff. And final question in terms of background and innovation, but I've met a lot of Zoomies, and I was recently at Zoomtopia, and I'm really impressed with the people and the passion. Can you talk us through or talk about the role of talent acquisition at Zoom and how that's helping to drive that innovation?
It's absolutely, it's hugely important. When it comes down to it, we pride ourselves being a startup within the company, right? A very large startup that's well-funded and well-focused on it. But that doesn't run without having very, very passionate employees, and employees that are passionate about trying to make a change into the world that we live in today. And our recruiting team, all the way down to all aspects of the organization, the company, play the number one part of it. Because without that, then you basically just need a code and everything, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It makes a huge difference into what we do. But also, if you don't hire the right people, then taking that mindset of looking at every problem in a new way to make sure that we're solving it for today's world, right? You're not trying to solve a problem or solution in a way that may not make the same impact that it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago on it. I think there's always opportunities to look at that. And sometimes a solution may still be the right solution, but in other cases, workflows have changed, right? The way that companies do business, the way that agents are trained, the way that problems come up from their customers. And so I think it's something that as a product organization, and we never look at it statically. So even in the cases where we built something, even just in the last year and a half, we constantly look through, I ask my product managers in the areas, keep evaluating what we're hearing from the customer, whether it's existing customers to new prospects as we go along. Is it still working to the way we intended? Does it need to evolve, right? And that has to be a constant part of our DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about technology then, and your approach to the technology portfolio and I suppose the technology stack for your customers. But I'm keen to kind of dig a little bit into the benefits of having a natively integrated solution as opposed to a multi-vendor approach, because I imagine there's a lot of CX and technology leaders out there right now. They've either got one or the other, and there are pain points, right, with both kind of models. But what's your approach? What's the benefits of the Zoom solution?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously a lot of contact center out there have multiple channels and different components throughout the entire ecosystem of the customer journey. But many of those have been acquired and pieced together through acquisitions. Everything that we have in Zoom, when I say Zoom CX, it comprises Zoom Virtual Agent, Zoom Contact Center, Workforce Management, and Quality Management. And then, of course, all the way out through our platform, which we have an open platform, and reporting analytics. All of those comprise that we have done today is built natively, right? And so the key aspect of that is we have full control over the technology. So when we want to incorporate AI, if we want to do something related with scalability and resiliency, we're easily able to do it because it's all the same foundation, same type of architecture, meets even at the macro level. It all has to fit under the global security, privacy, and compliance that we, as Zoom, across all of our product lines and platform, have to deliver and deliver to our customers. So to me, it's about all that aspect. Of course, we always talk about features and experience. And that, of course, comes into play as well. We're providing a consistent user experience for the employee across all functions is key. Making sure that data flows between the products as the customer journey transcends. It's important to know that customer throughout the entire journey. And so, as an example, when we place or transfer a call from contact center to Zoom Phone, you get full directory lookup, full presence information. And here in this quarter, in this month, we'll also be passing information that has been collected and known by the engagement of the contact center. So whether that's a customer inputted something through the IVR, something was pulled through your second or third party systems, your backend CRM, system of records, that information and any information that's pertinent during the engagement, if that call is now being transferred to a back office expert that's residing on Zoom Phone, they will be empowered with information before they answer the call and during, if they're on Zoom Phone Power Pack, so you can actually understand and get better context support. We all, as customers, really hate it when we get transferred and have to interact with somebody new and repeat ourselves. Here's who I am, here's my problem, here's what the previous person did, etc. Shouldn't have to do that. All the information is there, right? And so by having a natively built system, it allows us to think about the whole end-to-end journey and be able to provide that together so that it's seamless, it's a better experience for the customers, but it also makes your agents much more effective and much more efficient along the way.
Yeah, and that is ultimately what it's all about, is it? That seamless customer journey, as you say. And I think when you compare Zoom to maybe other vendors and solutions on the marketplace, what you can't always see as a customer, procuring a new solution is the amount of acquisitions that's happened in the past to build the kind of technology that's on offer. And Microsoft Teams, for example, is an interesting one, isn't it? Because they don't really have a small business, small contact center solution. They've got a very large enterprise solution nowadays, but they do rely on third-party solutions, don't they? In the main, which I imagine that does differentiate Zoom somewhat when it comes to that seamless customer journey. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It definitely makes it more seamless. It makes the data sets cleaner. Allows us, when we listen to our customers, to be able to think about the future of how things are going to transform. Obviously, we're seeing within the UCaaS space the merger of technologies and products coming together. Same thing in the CCaaS side, and who knows what the future is going to hold between all of it together. But there's always transformation that's happening in the way that everybody that's interacting with the customer what information they need and what tools they need. But one of the things, even with the Zoom platform, we look at is every agent is also an employee, right? And so when they're at work, they're not always just interacting with the customer. Oftentimes they're in internal meetings, they're having to chat and do work items with their colleagues. And so that's why it's important to have one desktop experience as we do in Zoom, because then I can easily switch over and be able to interact with my colleagues when I need to take those meetings, when I move over in the next day or later in that day to be able to perform my job as an agent. I'm easily able to do so. I don't have to have a whole different type of experience on that. It's all within a centralized place and familiar to me. It really helps reduce friction to the employees and employee as an agent.
Let's talk about complexity, because that is the elephant in the room for most contact center. I suppose discussions and conversations around strategy is breaking down those boundaries, move those rocks. Ultimately, I mean, Zoom has always managed to maintain its kind of ease of use. I mean, you're known for your ease of use. You're so successful because of it. How have you managed to do that with contact center? Have you taken the same approach? Have you managed to break down those barriers?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think it goes two ways. One is our product and design mindset. Same thing. Like my background is many years in consumer, right? So consumer electronics. And with that, I've never bought into the old paradigm that for enterprise and for IT administrators, things can be complex. They're smart, they're used to complications, right? But yet that same person, when they're out in the real world, interacting with any consumer products, they're all made to be as simple as possible and intuitive as possible, right? So my philosophy throughout all of our product lines is to listen, figure out what's the jobs to be done and make it as easy as possible. Nobody should have to think, nobody have to struggle. Also, sometimes I hear, well, they're being deployed by PSO, by a professional service organization or a channel partners. But the reality is that the amount of customers throughout my career I've talked to where 6 months later, right, the UCaaS or CCaaS system set up, they've gone through training, but they're not paying attention, right? Their focus is, all right, I'm switching my system. That's what I'm focused on. So 6 months later, they want to make a change and they don't remember how to do it, right? Because it was all a blur. The other thing that often happens is 6 months later, there's usually another new hire that's coming into the team. They're now asked to go manage X amount of SaaS systems, and they're not getting any training. So it is part of our DNA as a whole to say, it doesn't matter if you're day 0, if you're at day 90, if you're a brand new person coming into the workforce, or you've been working in your field for 30 years. It shouldn't matter. It should be as simple as possible, intuitive as possible, so that way you can keep moving on to doing whatever next tasks and jobs you need to do, for your position. So that comes in there from our perspective. But then when you're taking it across all of Zoom, they're supporting businesses, but also consumers, right? And so from that, the overall design philosophy has to be built on simplicity, built on ease of use and intuitiveness. So that DNA flows across every product line, no matter if it's targeted for businesses or the consumer side.
Super. And certainly a trend that CX Today is picking up on more and more is that conversation and topic around employee experience coming together with the customer experience, and those two really being super important this year and in the year ahead. So it's, I'm sure, music to a lot of CX leaders' ears right now, knowing that you have followed the same, I suppose, line as the rest of the product line. So let's move on to another trend that we're picking up on, or conversation, which is the role of voice channels in the current customer experience landscape. What do you think, Ted? Is the role of voice evolving?
Absolutely, and I think it's still as strong as ever. From our customer base that we have, the adoption of all channels, but even voice across every customer is still number one. And I think it's important. It's all of us. We're not always sitting in front of a desk. We're not always staring at or have the ability to be able to stare at the screen. So having the flexibility to have mobility and to be able to still interact with the brand, with the company, if I'm in the car, on the go, or just even from an accessibility perspective, it is still an important channel. And the way that it will continue to evolve is continue to utilize AI and ML technologies to make that interaction to be more fluid, to be more conversational, so that it becomes more natural and can reduce the amount of time that it takes to go back and forth to ask and clarify questions. And I see that evolving to be much more precise and much more effective in that manner. That being said, all the digital channels continue to increase, and of course, video being Zoom, we see a lot of adoption and attraction in that area to provide the end flexibility. When it really comes down to it, it's about providing the most convenient channels that allow your customers to interact with your brand at that point in time of day, right? If I'm right here, in my mind, I might have, want to reach out to my insurance company. I've got some work going on in my house right now. I'd love to be able to be chatting on the side here, being productive and multitasking. Right? So it really does provide it, but looking for a provider that then where you have the view to know which channels that customer is contacted on. But in addition, to be able to make sure that in that interaction, if it warrants then the need to be able to move into a voice conversation or jump into a video screen share to be able to help them to be able to share files, to be able to screen share, that really helps then make that conversation more efficient and help to solve it. And so for us in Zoom Contact Center, we have launched with voice, video, SMS, and chat. And we've now expanding into our social channels, email, and outbound dialers. And every one of those digital channels can be upgraded to voice, and all of those can be upgraded into a screen share or video experience with that. And so providing that, I think really all of those channels is important to consider throughout the different departments that you have.
I almost assume that video was native within the platform, although is the appetite for video increasing in contact center environments? Would you say?
It is, and I think use cases are very specific for where that's needed and what it's for, right? So when it comes to being able to help where you need to see something or you need to present something, going into a video engagement and being able to screen share is king. And of course, naturally, you see that in traditional environments of IT help desk to employee. In other cases, you'll see it between a customer brand and their customer. Let's give you an example of maybe going to configure, viewing their screen to be able to help them configure one of your software applications or networking equipment that they have purchased from you. But within non-traditional case, or even the next traditional case would be within telehealth, being able to provide remote aspects. But it's becoming more and more, especially with hybrid working and customers not always being able to actually go talk to a company live in the store anymore or in a branch office. And oftentimes now we see traditional professionals that are now working from home and actually supporting customers across multiple branch locations. So building out and actually having a touchscreen experience where your customers still will come into a live physical location, but yet still be able to use video to be able to connect and interact with customers. We have customers that were in a baking industry. Traditionally, there were rural branch locations, but in those branch locations, it was for basic cash transactions, right, baking transactions. But financial advisors all resided in the main city, and remote, so never had access to it unless they traveled hours and hours away to that and actually made a purposeful trip for it. One of our customers, they now expanded out by providing video kiosks in those locations and now expanding the ability to actually provide and build that customer relationship with their customers from leveraging their financial advisors sitting remotely. So it's really, it's really opening up new possibilities that didn't exist for many companies, and doing so where it makes the most difference.
Yeah, as you say, endless possibilities. Talking of endless possibilities, let's just take a moment. We're going to have a couple more opinion polls for the audience. If you've got any questions, everyone, feel free to fire them in the Q&A. We will be looking at those shortly. But for now, I'm going to throw up another poll on the screen. Here it goes. So we're going to be talking a little bit around AI, and we can't get through any CX conversation, contact center conversation nowadays without talking about AI. So here's one, very quick one. Is your tech? Let me just try that again. Did it go up on the screen there?
I see it.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, sorry. So is your contact center currently utilizing any form of AI technology? Let's see what we've got here, Ted. Interesting results so far. And we'll have a follow-up question in a moment. What do you think so far, Ted?
No, it's good to see. I mentioned there are some cases here where some may not actually realize, depending on their system, that they are utilizing AI behind the scenes, but just transparent. Give you one example. If you're a Zoom contact center customer, one of our models for estimated wait time is powered by AI/ML. And if you're in a Zoom in our video engagements, to protect the agents, if they're working remotely in their aspects, we have background blur and virtual backgrounds, just like you might be familiar with in regular Zoom meetings. Those are also AI driven.
Interesting. Yeah. As a customer, you just wouldn't know, would you? Well, you hope they don't know. It's just English.
And the key is about using technology for purpose and not just for technology.
Absolutely. Last poll of the day, just in line with, in context with AI. What are the primary goals for implementing AI in your contact center, or what were they when you implemented it? Now, again, you can select more than one here. I'm sure there was more than one reason. We'll just go for the primary reason. Entirely up to you. Again, Ted, because it's multi-select, we're probably going to get a bit of a mixed bag here, I would imagine. But it's good to see not just one popping up.
Yeah, it's as expected going across, and everybody's always under pressure of how to reduce costs, how to bring better margins, how to reduce attrition, right? And all these factors come into the technology and the providers that you provide for your contact center. And so, yeah, the results here are much of what I hear every day.
Great. Well, let's kick on. Let's talk about Zoom and AI. We'll just leave that up on the screen for a few more moments. Or in fact, I think let me just close that down, actually get it off the screen. Great. I think they should have all closed down now. Yeah, let's talk about Zoom AI. Ted, how is Zoom leveraging AI to enhance agent productivity and customer experience?
Absolutely. So What we announced at Zoomtopia and probably seen across in many announcements between now and then is a few things. So one is across the entire company, we have a product called AI Companion that is integrated into all of our product lines. And so we've extended AI Companion into our Zoom Contact Center. And what that provides, that's provided free of charge, just a part of our base solution, base systems. And so in that function, to give you an example, if an agent is being has been transferred to and taken an inbound engagement, they will be provided with a summary of a conversation that's happened thus far, the context of why the customer called and what's happening, what their needs are. And that could be coming from whether it was originally customer interacting with Zoom virtual agent and decided to escalate it over to a human agent, or even between agents or a supervisor hopping into a conversation. As we move along here, agents will be able to auto-generate replies. So it's all about helping to streamline their workflows, give them the right tools to be able to do their job more efficiently and effectively. In addition to that, we are going to be offering AI Expert Assist, which is a paid add-on, and it's going to be available in some of our new packages that are releasing at the end of next week. So come and get them. And with that, we are providing tools to the agent to be able to allow them to find the right context and the right contextual information to that engagement. So you'll be able to, utilizing intents, be able to do lookups across your system of records or an ordering system, a ticketing system, any business system, to be able to find information that the customer's provided within that conversation and be able to present that back to the agent. So they don't have to swivel chair, they don't have to go search for it, and it's right there in front of them to be able to help them solve that customer's issue. Access to knowledge bases, real time as well. And as we evolve, it'll also include next best actions so they know this is what I need to do next. And that'll continually evolve to be more powerful as we go release to a release. But our whole goal there is, how do you simplify every interaction that the agent does so that you can help automate some of their tasks to make sure and also provide them with every information that they need in context in real time to make their job as streamlined and simple as possible. We want them to be able to be focusing on the most complex problems, being able to multitask as needed across multiple engagements. All in the end there, to go back to Rob, what you showed at the poll, everybody's looking at, how do I create efficiencies? How do I reduce costs? All these. And I think all this is going to be very important to maximizing the output of every agent, but also making them feel like they have the right tools. Oftentimes we hear agents, you poll them, do you have the right information to do your job? Do you have the right tools to do your job? And the results aren't great. And we think that we are able to solve that in our unique way, and looking forward to do so. But in addition to that, we talked about AI throughout, and I gave some examples of estimated wait time to the video experience with the blur and the backgrounds. And there's multiple places throughout our contact center product line where we'll be looking to leverage technology, any technology, but of course AI throughout to provide any efficiencies or reduce repetition as needed throughout.
Thanks for that. And it really feels like, I mean, we've been talking about AI for years, right? Especially in the contact center. We've been, again, it was one of the top use cases for AI was actually customer engagement. But it's been complex and typically like contact center technologies. But things have changed now, haven't they, with generative AI and Zoom's federated approach to using different vendors for, the best of breed Gen AI, solutions and platforms. What's the customer feedback been like so far with the AI components?
It's been great. So I'll give you two examples. One is we don't use it just in the engagement interaction piece of it. We think about everybody that's interacting with the contact center. So one of the most important ones, for example, is administrators. So one of the hardest things to do when you adopt a bot is getting it set up and to do. So we're using Gen AI to allow our administrators to be able to auto-generate bot flows, right? In the dialogue across that conversation to get them a head start to be able to do so. In addition, if you're running a business and you're noticing that you have a lot of customers calling in about a certain topic, and you want to be able to detect that topic come up and take action on that, you're now able to create intents. In the past, it takes about 20 intent training phrases in order to really get train the intents to be accurate. So to do so, you would have to think about, all right, here's one statement, here's another statement, here's another statement. To do so now, we also help the administrators by providing Gen AI to say, all right, I want to be able to detect blah, blah, blah intent here and automatically generate the intent training phases of that. So we try to use it for purpose to make everybody's job easier in that perspective. One of my favorites is I've talked to a lot of supervisors and managers of contact centers. And when we show them with AI Expert Assist, the ability for the agents to auto-generate their summaries and notes and their to-dos at the end of the engagement, their eyes light up. Because the amount of time that I've heard them say, I can't understand my agent's notes, it's basically gibberish. They type a few words or they're typing. They always have to then go follow up later with agent on a particular case and ask them, all right, what actually happened here? What evolved? Or go through the case records themselves. And so they're super excited because they know that they'll actually get a better output and something a little bit more legible and understandable by adopting AI Expert Assist for that agent. And so the reaction has been great, and we got a lot of support from our customers. They love Zoom's federated approach that you just mentioned, so that there's the ability for us, knowing that we'll be providing the best in class results and analysis from any of our AI vendors that we're utilizing, including Zoom's own internal AI that powers actually a lot of the majority of what we do today as well.
And it's fair to say, and I think we omitted to mention this, but the AI companion component that across the Zoom phone platform is actually being given away for free at no cost.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we feel, there's many use cases where it should just be incumbent. The way I kind of explain it is, if you go across messaging applications today, so whether it's your text messaging app on your phone to one of your social media, emojis are emojis, the ability to bold, italicize is there. So at that point, it normalizes it down to a composition box, right? In a composition box, if I'm trying to communicate with somebody, it should be consistent everywhere. So that's the way I kind of look at when we think of being able to generate reply or auto-compose a message. At that point, a composition box is a composition box. We're not there to nickel and dime our customers for something that should just be there as a standard part of the function to help your employees and your agents to be able to do their job and to then focus on the actual customer engagement, the customer journey, and helping your business from that perspective.
You recently released some pretty big numbers relating to the number of AI conversations and that type of thing. But I presume that, sheer amount of data and AI-based conversations that are now occurring on the platform, your platform's only becoming more intelligent and ultimately, getting ahead of the competition.
Well, the key thing with Zoom is that you heard it from our CEO, Eric, is that we're very, very keen on privacy, right? So no customer data is used for any training models to affect the broader training across how that technology works across any of the customers. So our customers' data is their customers' data, and that's the key factor of it. So yes, and so we have many ways for our technology to continue to grow, to get it smarter, to get more accurate along the way. But customer data is your customer's data. It's yours.
Yeah, and that's a key point. So let's talk about the future. Let's talk about developments that recently occurred at Zoomtopia. There's some big announcements there, but also I'm keen to hear from you, what's coming up in the near future. I suppose there's still a few weeks left of the year, but I'm sure Zoom will probably release something between now and Christmas, and I'm sure we're going to see another year of innovation from Zoom. Tell us more.
Yeah, so some of the things that we talked about that we announced in Zoomtopia, they are all going to production, in general available at the end of next week. So that includes those additional channels I talked about, which is Facebook on the social, inbound email, and outbound dialer. Our AI Expert Assist is going GA, and AI Companion as part of that is there. When we do that, one announcement you'll see here shortly, and I'll give a preview here, is that today we had one contact center package that you could buy for every user. We're now expanding that into a mix and match solution. So the base package, which is industry leading at $69, includes the voice, video, SMS, and chat. We're also GAing as a part of that base with no additional charge, remote control. So as a part of that screen sharing video experience for those in IT help desk, or for customers where you're needing to help them go configure something, that's included, no additional charge. And we're also expanding within that some more privacy and security functionality. So traditionally, customers may have had to purchase a separate product to be able to do PII reduction out of the recordings. That's also now included as part of our base. And for the larger enterprises, Zoom's customer managed key solution, allowing you to bring your own key to use that to encrypt the recordings, the transcripts, was also part of our base solution now at the end of next week. Now, with that, some departments may be needing to leverage the additional channels of social, email, and for sales for outbound. Those are going to be available in a second package called Zoom Contact Center Premier. And on top of that, for those contact centers that are looking for the most efficiency and effectiveness, all of that, as mentioned previously, plus AI Expert Assist, workforce management, and quality management will all be packaged together at a great value in our Zoom Contact Center Elite product. Now, all of those, unlike some other competitors in those where you may be forced to buy the highest package that one aspect of the business may need, this is all going to be mix and match. So if you have a department or a set of agents that need a certain bundle, that's how many licenses you buy for that set. If you have a customer support that needs the Elite, you can buy as many as you need of that, and you can assign those appropriately across. In addition, our AI Expert Assist, WFM, and QM can be also purchased add-on to our base Zoom Contact Center Essentials and the new Zoom Contact Center Premium packages if you don't need all three, but would like one of them on there. But I think you'll see with our pricing and the value that you get, you'll be pretty intrigued to be moving up to and evaluating each of those different levels. And for every one of those, we'll continue to be adding more and more value throughout release after release within our product line.
Fantastic. Lots happening. I'm conscious of time. Want to get some questions in from the audience. So how about we just jump on to our final question, Ted, that we're talking about deployment. I think that a good place to go now would be, how do we deploy a Zoom contact center? And how might that compare to conventional deployments? What does Zoom do to help that overall experience?
Well, at first, it's the experience itself is simple, but the key factor we try to advise is if you've had a contact center, and even if it's been over a few years, really reassess what where your current business goals are, what your customer goals are, and is your current solution or the current way that you're offering and utilizing your contact center today really supporting that? And be open then to evaluating and looking at new channels and expanding. adopting new technologies such as video where it makes sense on it, and be open to thinking about how best to streamline information flow. I think it's also important to consider what client is your agent looking at and using every day. And I talked about some of the advantages of having agents and being an employee in the same client, but also there's a lot of quality and performance improvements that can be had by leveraging native clients, as Zoom has, and through it and utilizing it. So that's really what I like to advise. So then when you have that, no matter what solution you try to adopt and do, you'll be able to take the most out of it in the conversations. And of course, for Zoom, we have our Zoom professional services. We also have our channel partners that we highly recommend to interact with. They're well adept at first talking about, all right, what are we trying to solve for? And then trying to pull our solutions together across the entire Zoom CX suite to help solve and make your life easier to both not only design it, but then also implement it and get you out the door as fast as possible.
That's great. We got some questions coming through. I think we've got time. So how about we just jump through a few of these, Ted, hopefully. First question, I think is quite an interesting one. How open is the Zoom platform in terms of integrations and APIs? I think we're talking interoperability here.
It's extremely open. And so all across Zoom, we pride ourselves on having an open platform. So the same thing applies within the contact center space. We publish webhooks with events and have a full suite of APIs from everything from provisioning to engagement related, so that you can store your data, whether it be recordings or transcripts, off in your own storage to do your own processing, pipe that information into your reporting analytics systems or other business intelligence tools. So, everything that we do, we first think platform, and to do that. In addition, we have a wide ecosystem of partners that integrate to our system. And along with that, we're pretty unique in the sense that even if we have our own product, let's say Zoom Virtual Agent, we know many of our customers may already have a relationship with an existing vendor and want to stick with it. Right? And so we offer integrations with other chatbots, with other providers of even agent assist functionality. And so we all are about being open, and it's about really supporting our customers to integrate that the way they want, right? And for those that are looking to move off existing systems or are looking to adopt something new, then that's also where we, through our whole suite of products, offer that natively ourselves.
Great. Another question that's come through is related to the new packages. When will they be available?
So new packages are available now to be purchased. If you reach out to our sales representatives, they can talk about them today. And then we'll be provisioning for those that are purchasing and deploying here in December here by the end of next week, and they're into the future.
Fantastic. And is Zoom Contact Center an all or nothing approach? For example, can organizations deploy certain Zoom components independently of each other?
Absolutely. So Zoom Virtual Agent can be purchased standalone and be used with other systems and integrated into different CRMs for you to be able to utilize if that's what your agent's using and you're just looking for a self-service chatbot. Zoom Contact Center, likewise, can be purchased standalone or can also be purchased with Zoom Virtual Agent, with Zoom Workforce Management and Quality Management, in addition to Zoom One on the UCaaS part of the suite. So each of these can be done independently or together. Currently, our Workforce Management and Quality Management work exclusively with Zoom Contact Center.
That's great. Thank you. And another question about the Zoom Phone Power Pack license. Does this need to be purchased separately?
So Zoom, depending on what plan you are for Zoom Phone, Zoom Power Pack is a mix and match that can be utilized. There's multiple personas that is product lines tailored to, from your administrators, your accountants, or your your auto receptionist to your sales to your agents. But it's also available as a part of Zoom One. And so when Zoom One's included as a part of that total package, then Power Pack is also available as a part of that.
Got it. Lots of choice then. And I think a final question, Ted, in terms of scalability and geographical reach, how far does the Zoom contact center platform stretch?
Great question. So we are available globally, and we deploy our SIP zones across the world. So we have native numbers throughout multiple countries throughout the world that you can take advantage if you want to buy numbers through Zoom. If you have your own through your own carriers, we offer BYOC connections solutions throughout the world to be able to do. And so we're globally available and allow you to be able to have control over your user-generated data to store that in region of your choice through utilizing our AWS partnership, or utilize our APIs, open APIs, to be able to store that in your own local centers as you need to.
That's great. Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, everyone. However, Zoom would love to continue the conversation with you. Do consider their complimentary discovery workshop offer. This provides a great next step for exploring the Zoom Contact Center platform. I'm just going to pop that up on the screen for you. And all you need to do is click the button if you're interested. Hopefully you've got that up on the screen. And Ted, a big thank you for sharing your expertise with us today and telling us all about the Zoom story in the contact center world. So thank you so much.
Really appreciate the time there, Scott, and appreciate for everyone for attending. And I'm sure there's a lot of other questions out there that we didn't get a chance to do. Please reach out to us, reach out to our sales folks, and be happy to have a conversation and continue to explain and explore how Zoom Contact Center and our suite of products can help you and your company and your industry. I think we have a lot of good stuff out there, and it's exciting times. And as Rob said, we're always moving at Zoom speed. So blink of an eye, something else is there and changing, and we're looking forward to partnering with you.
And thank you to everyone for joining us on behalf of CX Today and Zoom. Thanks for watching.